Tonight, disappointed but not surprised. Reaction after the Crown's decision not to appeal the World Junior Sexual Assault decision.
They're not guilty. It doesn't mean nothing happened. And I think that we need to remember that.
Plus, a new approach for community housing, the changing strategy to address poor conditions. And setting the stage in Ingersoll. Final preparations for a festival expected to attract thousands.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Two local organizations are speaking out after Crown lawyers decided not to appeal the World Junior Sexual Assault acquittals. With more on their reaction and the change they still want to see, here's Sean Irvine.
The executive director of the London Abused Women's Centre is disappointed the Crown will not appeal the not guilty verdicts in the high-profile case involving 5 former members of Canada's 2018 World Junior Hockey team. But Jennifer Dunn is not surprised.
Like, we weren't living in this world where we thought that there was going to be an appeal and all of a sudden the verdict was going to look a little bit different or totally different. So we figured that this was going to happen.
But that does not take away pain and frustration.
So this is not a matter of, innocent until proven guilty. They're not guilty. It doesn't mean nothing happened. And I think that we need to remember that.
The acquittals of the 5 men came in a verdict delivered on July 24th. Justice! Supporters of the women at the center of the case rallied before and after the verdict was read. Dunn fears the attention around the trial and the failure of the appeal will discourage some victims from stepping forward in the future.
This case is very high level, and I think anytime a situation like this is talked about, it does make women think a little bit more about what they're going to do.
It is a reality her organization and London-based Inova are looking to mitigate. Both have issued a joint statement reminding women there are supports available.
At like a grassroots level on the ground, need to work really hard to build that trust with community so then women and girls know that they're not alone and that we will support them.
In the aftermath of the trial, Dunn is also calling for all judges to be required to take sexual assault awareness training. She also wants politicians to support victims.
If we're going to move the needle at all, we need proper legislation, proper education, proper awareness, proper funding to see what we can do to make that better for women and girls.
In London, Sean Irvine, CTV News.
A team effort today in Port Stanley helping a man who was struggling in the water. According to one of the bystanders who stepped in, the man had slid off a flotation device and wasn't moving. She swam over, lifted his head and called for help. Others quickly joined in, helping the man who appeared to have experienced a medical event. Port Stanley fire crews and local paramedics eventually got the man to hospital.
There was actually 3 people that were CPR certified that started working on the gentleman immediately. The wife had just gone on a little stroll down the beach, and when she came back, she was incredibly thankful that all the pedestrians were working so hard to help her husband. Probably within 10 minutes or so, fire and EMS showed up and took over. But yeah, everybody really rallied together and did their best to help him.
Good evening. It was a gorgeous afternoon. Lots of sunshine, comfortable temperatures into the mid-20s. A bit cooler along the shoreline of Lake Huron, but that didn't stop many people from heading to the beach today. That area of high pressure drifting off to the east as we head through the overnight. But I'm tracking a cold front that's coming in for your Saturday afternoon, and we'll talk about timing with that coming up. But we'll hold on to our area of high pressure this evening and early tomorrow. 22 degrees by 8 o'clock. Clear conditions and the temperature dipping down to 18 by midnight. Watch for fog developing as we head into tomorrow morning. Stay with us. I'll have your weekend weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Here on OPP say they're investigating after a senior was killed, hit by a driver this morning in Seaforth. According to police, it happened around 7 a.m. at Main and Goderich Streets. They say the person driving the pickup truck involved remained at the scene. Police say the driver hit a 77-year-old who was rushed to hospital but did not survive. A rally in Toronto today demanding policymakers do more to prevent gun violence. Attendees motivated by the death of an 8-year-old boy last week, killed by a stray bullet. Scott Lightfoot reports.
They gathered to mourn and to call for change, all in memory of 8-year-old Javay Roy.
Javay's voice is still going to be heard regardless of if he's with us in this physical world. He's now with us in spirit. Justice for Javay is what organizers called this rally outside City Hall, just 6 days after the boy was struck by an errant bullet meant for someone else. It was around 12:30 last Saturday morning when one or more shooters opened fire from near the sidewalk along Trithui Drive. They were aiming at someone near this playground. The bullets missed and pierced the building, striking Javay, who was laying in bed with his mother.
The outpour of love and support, like I can't even imagine where I'd be if I didn't have this support. It gets me through one day at a time.
Among those who turned out today to show support, strangers, angered by the senselessness of the boy's death.
Devastated. I'm a mom of 3. It's unacceptable.
And there were mothers who have lost sons to gun violence.
As I used to say, this will never hit home for me. You know, I used to see mothers crying on the TV, they lost a son, and I say, you know what, this wouldn't come. And then it came straight to my doorstep.
This isn't just an everyday shooting, stuff that you're numb to by now. This is a child. He should be starting school in 2 weeks with his friends, and is not.
There were calls for change to the laws, the Youth Criminal Justice Act, bail procedures, even how neighborhoods are protected. A number of politicians were on hand to hear the demands.
I'm feeling the hurt and the pain from the community. Every 8-year-old should feel safe. Every mom and dad should feel safe in their own homes, in their bed with their kids.
But if you're not safe sleeping in bed at night, you wonder, like, what the heck's going on in the city?
There is also frustration that someone knows who pulled the trigger that fired the shot that killed Javay. But so far, no one has come forward to say who it was.
At the end of the day, someone's going to rat this guy out for some money, because that's what it comes down to. He is a coward. He's a child killer. He's going to go to prison.
However, and whenever it comes, those who knew Javay say they believe his legacy will be one of change and of justice.
We're going to fight super hard for him, and I know I have the whole city behind me, my community. I know there'll be justice.
Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
Provincial police have concluded a death investigation in West Lorne with no foul play suspected. Neighbors had told CTV News a significant police presence converged on a property in the small town Tuesday afternoon. Today, police issued a release saying a body was found inside a home, but after an investigation involving the chief coroner and the forensic pathology unit, they do not consider the death suspicious. Emergency crews are responding to a fatal tour bus crash in New York State. The crash happened on a highway about 45 kilometers east of Buffalo early this afternoon. New York police say more than 50 people were on the bus. They say the driver lost control, hit the median, then crashed into a ditch. Police have not said how many people were killed, but they do say one of them is a child and several people were trapped under the bus. It's believed to have been en route to New York City after a trip to Niagara Falls. A new strategy is taking shape to overhaul London Middlesex Community Housing. It comes weeks after an assessment deemed the overall grade for those homes as poor. With more on this new approach, here's Daryl Newcombe.
We expect to have a report come to council.
Deputy Mayor Sean Lewis, who sits on the board of London Middlesex Community Housing, says a master regeneration plan for the region's stock of public housing is underway. It'll determine which public housing sites should be retained, which should be revitalized, which would benefit from a significant redevelopment, and if any, should be sold off. The goal is to increase the overall number of rent-geared to income units and improve the overall quality of buildings.
If we're going to build more rent-geared to income housing, some of it is going to have to be on existing land, because one of the most expensive pieces in developing housing right now is land costs.
City Council was told that a condition assessment of 31 LMCH properties found only 7 were in fair condition, the remainder in poor or very poor condition. Bringing the overall assessment up to a fair condition would require $34.6 million over the next 10 years and over $110 million to achieve a good condition.
Many of these properties were built in the 1960s, 1970s, and so all these properties are falling into the same trap, which is aging infrastructure.
Since that meeting, LMCH administration has continued working on the strategy to assess each property's future potential. A report to the board recommended business cases be prepared declared for significant redevelopment of 3 properties: Ladybrook Crescent in South London, Bellis Street in Strathroy, and the Limberlost community in northwest London.
In this phase, we're only looking at the properties based on their physical condition. We haven't assessed market value, redevelopment potential, and what that looks like. That will be the next step.
The deputy mayor emphasizes that the plan for each property will be unique based on that property's potential. However, in the case of Limberlost, he suggests you could look at what's happening here at reimagined Southdale. Density was increased on the property by tearing down some aging townhouses to make space for a 3-phase development totaling 165 apartments.
More rent-geared income housing in the City of London, without it just being taxpayer give us more money, but actually taking advantage of the properties we have and leveraging those as assets.
Daryl, Newcombe, CTV News.
Neighbors came to the rescue of a family this morning in Georgetown after their home went up in flames.
And we just like, yo, just jump. The first kid jumped, Patrick caught him. The second kid, we got him. And then the husband and wife, we got a ladder from the neighbor.
The homeowner says the family were woken up by a series of loud booms. It appears a powerful electrical fire erupted in the garage where 2 electric vehicles were parked. The family of 4 escaped out a bedroom window, then screamed for help from the roof. The Ontario Fire Marshal is now investigating, but at this point the fire is not considered suspicious. Police in the Niagara region say they've arrested 2 people and they're looking for a third after a woman was set on fire while sleeping in her St. Catharines apartment. Police say each of the 3 suspects is wanted for attempted murder, accused of using an accelerant to start the fire. They say they all knew the victim as well, who suffered critical injuries. Thousands of music fans are expected in Ingersoll this weekend for the 2nd annual Good for the Soul Music Festival. With more on the event and this year's headliner, here's Bryan Bicknell.
Jay Panasico listens as Sass Jordan comes on the radio. A small taste of what's to come this Saturday in his hometown of Ingersoll.
The entire community's behind it.
The stage is being set at Memorial Park as Panasico organizes the 2nd annual Good for the Soul Music Festival. This is what it looked like last year as Helix rocked this park.
I am going to do a concert at Good for the Soul in Ingersoll.
This year's headliner is Sass Jordan,
who is just an absolute Canadian gem. We got my friend from London, Ontario, Charlie Edwards, coming. The guy's going to be the next Canadian superstar. He's just amazing. He just released an album. This kid's going places. We got One Way Streets, who were here last year. They're the hometown boys. Then another band from town, a girls band with a guy drummer called Misconduct, and they're ready to rock.
Several dozen local businesses are sponsoring the event, including Chelmsford Pizza.
It's good for us as a community to get together and have a good time together and enjoy ourselves and celebrate what living in a small town is, community.
Meantime, at Ingersoll Rail's House of Brews, they've brewed up a special festival batch.
Well, this is Boxcar 73, which is a cream ale. It's a nice, light, refreshing beer, which we figured would be perfect for an outdoor event.
The park opening to the public at 5 o'clock on Saturday, with the first band taking the stage at 6:30. But get here early. Some 4,000 people are expected down here at Memorial Park for the Good for the Soul Music Festival.
Tomorrow's concert is dedicated to my dad, Nick Panasico, who was at one time Canada's hottest promo man, and I hope I make him proud.
In Ingersoll, Bryan Bicknell, CTV News.
Coming up, reversing course on retaliatory tariffs. The federal government extending an olive branch to the Trump administration. Plus, retail sales were up in June. We'll tell you how that's driving the consumer economy.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Rock the Runway is landing at the London International Airport September 12th and 13th. Enter at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win a pair of VIP tickets to see Marshmello, Baby No Money, and more on Saturday, September 13th.
A reversal in Ottawa today in Canada's approach to the trade war with the U.S. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's removing retaliatory tariffs on some U.S. products, complying with the existing North American Free Trade Agreement. With more on the announcement, here's Abigail Beeman.
After a phone call with the American president yesterday, the Prime Minister is now trying to sell Canadians on the idea that no new deal with the United States is actually the best trade deal in the world.
We're matching what the United States has done, what the president has done. We have the best deal of any country with the United States right now.
As of September 1st, Canada will drop counter tariffs on U.S. goods covered by CUSMA. Those have been an irritant for Trump, and the Prime Minister indicated that in their Thursday phone call, Trump said getting rid of them would kickstart negotiations. Carney saying they're now intensifying. In the Oval Office, the president now saying he wants to be very good to Canada.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice, and we're going to have another call soon. Okay. Yeah, we had a very good call.
They're getting closer towards an agreement on trade?
I like them.
Carney is trying to sell this as matching the U.S., using that word multiple times, since the U.S. has no tariffs on CUSMA-exempt goods. But the tariffs that remain from the U.S. on steel and aluminum are higher than Canada's.
We're not raising those today. We've matched the tariffs on autos, similar structure as the U.S. We do have a difference between our tariff on U.S. steel and our tariff on U.S. aluminum. Those are part of the intensive discussions that we're underway right now.
Ahead of the announcement, the Prime Minister brought Cabinet together in a virtual meeting, and the minister responsible for U.S. trade briefed the rest of caucus after. Carney also said the renegotiation of CUSMA could take as long as 18 months to work out. Trade experts say what happens there will be the real issue for the long term. The Prime Minister is also promising a new, quote, industrial strategy in September for all sectors hit by tariffs, mentioning autos and agriculture in particular. The Prime Minister has long talked about diversifying trade partners in the face of the U.S. trade war, and next week he heads to Germany to work on that, bringing along a handful of key ministers with him. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Encouraging signs today when it comes to Canada's economic prospects. June numbers show an increase in retail sales, suggesting growth when many were predicting a recession. Camille Karamali reports.
Retail analysts say this growth doesn't necessarily show signs of a super strong economy, but it's not as bad as many expected given the trade war. Retail sales rose 1.5% to more than $70 billion. That's because all 9 Canadian sectors showing either no change or an increase in sales for June. The sectors with the highest increases compared to May: clothing with over 5% growth, building material with supplies with over 2%, and food and beverage seeing more than a 2% increase in sales. Across the country, Ontario saw one of the biggest retail sale increases at over 3%. Quebec remained unchanged, while BC and Alberta saw 1.5% and 1% increases in sales. In May, retail sales slumped, dropping more than 1%, largely because of a fall in vehicle sales, with tariffs on aluminum and steel and the trade war playing a role. But for June, auto sales remained mostly unchanged, climbing less than 1%.
If we talk about, for things from a consumer standpoint, we are still seeing wage gains happening. The labor market is starting to, contract a little bit, but not a heck of a lot yet. It's mostly concentrated in tariff-related sectors where we're starting to see the bleeding happen. And so as a result, consumers are still spending.
As for July, Statistics Canada says retail sales are expected to drop by 0.8%. Kamil Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Public health officials in Brantford are recommending every child who attended a daycare where rabid bats were found get a post-exposure vaccine. With the latest from Grand Erie Public Health, here's Heather Senerin.
Their investigation into the situation revealed no additional adults or children made contact with the dead bat that tested positive for rabies. But since this was not the only bat spotted at the daycare, they advise every child gets the post-exposure vaccine just to be safe. The full PEP vaccine series includes injections, typically in the arm. The initial dose is called the rabies immune globulin, followed by 4 doses of the rabies vaccine. And the series is given over a 2-week period. Adult staff members don't have to get it unless they had direct contact, but public health says adults would know if they had direct contact, whereas young children might not be sure. Last week, a parent whose kid attends the daycare told CTV News they spotted several live bats there before. We obtained several videos that appear to show live bats in and near the daycare.
Although we did not identify anyone else who had any confirmed direct contact, weighing that with the fact that these are very young children who are going to be unable to provide us with a history of whether or not there may have been contact, weighing that along with knowing the severity of rabies, out of an abundance of caution, we're now recommending that all children at a daycare receive the rabies post-exposure prophylaxis.
Public Health hosted a clinic for these vaccines yesterday, and there are more scheduled in the coming days. Public Health wouldn't say how many children already got the vaccine, but last week the daycare told us they served 145 families.
Heather Centeno, CTV News.
A sentencing decision just minutes ago for a man who stabbed a former friend to death 3 years ago. As Nick Paparella reports, the killer took a lesser plea and will serve almost 5 more years for it.
It was a vicious attack that occurred between 2 friends in the Home Depot parking lot near Dundas and Clark Road in East London on the morning of August 7th of 2022. At his sentencing hearing, the court heard how Antony Centeno, who was also known by the nickname Asian Tony, got upset with 31-year-old Devon Cherrery-Rooke over drugs. Both men had been living in homeless encampments in the area and involved in London's drug subculture when the 30-year-old Centeno stabbed Cherrery-Rooke 3 times, with the deadliest wound being to the thigh. Centeno told the court the incident was a blur because he was high on crystal meth and fentanyl at the time. Originally charged with second-degree murder, Centeno pled guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter. The Crown asked that he serve 8 to 12 years behind bars, while the defense requested 6 years. In handing down his sentence, Justice Ian Leach said Centeno had more than 50 criminal convictions, typical of someone with serious drug addictions. Caught on nearby surveillance cameras, the judge said the attack was lethal and only lasted 26 seconds, and he left Mr. Cherrery-Rooke without calling for assistance. In the end, Justice Leach sentenced Centeno to 9 years. With credit for time already served, he will spend almost 4.5 more years behind bars. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Officials with the World Health Organization say climate change-driven heat is a global public crisis for billions of outdoor workers.
In agriculture, construction, and other physically demanding sectors, we're seeing a clear rise in heat stroke, dehydration, and long-term kidney and cardiovascular damage due to dangerous working conditions.
According to the agency, anyone working in industries like construction, farming, or other physically demanding jobs are at especially high risk of suffering heat-related health issues. In Canada, that can be further complicated by winter months, reducing workers' ability to withstand the summer conditions. On the desk with Julie Atchison now, and we are looking at a pretty beautiful start to the weekend, at least. Gorgeous here on a Friday. It sounds like there might be some instability, though, as we get through the weekend.
Yeah, I'm tracking a cold front. I've been watching it develop all week. Forecast is holding steady, with this front expected to come through Saturday into Sunday, with a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms. But today was a beautiful day. Earlier today at Rotary Cove Beach in Goderich, lots of people out enjoying the gorgeous conditions. And Grand Bend was bustling this afternoon, that's for sure. So many people out and about. Look at the blue sky. It was really a perfect beach day, although it was quite cool. in parts of our area this afternoon. So the wind coming off the lake keeps things a bit chilly. In terms of our daytime high in London, 26 degrees, our low is 13. Now, of course, being chilly is all relative this time of year when we talk about some warm summer conditions across the area. Skies are mainly clear. We do have some cloud cover off to the northwest in advance of that cold front, but conditions across our area this evening are perfect. High pressure drifting off to the east. The winds are light and variable. The skies will continue to be clear. And as we head into tomorrow morning, we will be holding on to that sunshine. We have a cold front coming in, as I mentioned off the top. This is the frontal boundary. The low pressure area will be slowly moving off to the east-northeast, dragging the cold front through. And ahead of that cold front, the risk for showers developing heading into the evening with the possibility of a thunderstorm. As we take a look at national temperatures across the country, cooler air has moved back into the southern prairies. Thunder Bay, though, holding at 25 degrees. And as we head to the Maritimes, dealing with some gusty conditions. But most of that rain staying offshore as Hurricane Erin just clips by Newfoundland heading into tomorrow. Here's our cold front that's dropping in for a little visit. It's also going to bring a taste of fall-like air to the region as we head into Monday. So Sunday night, Monday is when the cold air advection really takes hold, and that's where we'll see the temperatures drop off. Fall-like air arrives to southern Ontario. The frontal boundary will cruise its way through with those scattered showers and thunderstorms. I want to show you a closer look as it starts to come in. So this is just a narrow ribbon of rainfall associated with it. Not a whole lot, but enough to kick off some showers. And perhaps if you're planning some evening outdoor activities, you may need to take a bit of a break or grab your umbrella. But it won't last too long. So anywhere between about 4 and 8 p.m. is our risk window. And then after that, we will see skies start to clear out. Sunday, well, this is the cold air coming in. So this generates some cloud cover and the chance for showers, although the probabilities are low at about a 30% chance. Overnight, 15 to 16 degrees across southern Ontario, 17 degrees if you're near Lake Huron or Erie. Your Saturday forecast highs, 24 degrees from Goderich through Mount Forest. South of that, 26 to 27 as we head to Sarnia, and 27 degrees in the afternoon in Essex County. Our Metal Roof Outlet forecast for your Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud and cooling down to 23. Monday, a mix of sun and cloud and cooler at 20. 18 on Tuesday. Now, if you're not a big lover of the heat, I think you love this forecast. Daytime highs are dropping. 21 on Wednesday with sunshine. Look at the overnight lows. This is great weather to open up the windows and let that beautiful breeze in. This will be a nice break. 23 degrees on Thursday and a mix of sun and cloud on a Friday, back up to 24. Some people call this a bit of a fake fall because, of course, we will get back into some warmer temperatures. It's not here to stay just yet. Our Metal Roof Outlet forecast in Midwestern Ontario. Evening showers developing at 25 degrees and then scattered showers Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. The reason your probabilities are higher is because of how the air comes off the lake. It generates cloud cover and scattered showers. So we will see a few on and off showers early next week. Not an all-day rain. It's just this cold upper trough that's in place, and that sparks showers at the surface. Heading into Wednesday, Thursday, we're clearing out, and temperatures are headed back up Thursday. By Friday, we're into a mix of sun and cloud and 23. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. Still ahead, missing payments. Canadians on disability supports calling out a new federal program after an apparent system issue.
Brett Kissel is gearing up for a huge show here in London on September 7th, all part of the 20th anniversary of London Music Hall. And to talk about that show and what it's like to ride a real bull versus a mechanical bull, he joins us on the iHeartRadio Pure Country Countdown this weekend.
The province's financial watchdog's latest job numbers show nearly 40,000 positions lost in the second quarter of 2025. According to the FAO, American tariff impacts are partly to blame. Most of the cuts were in the manufacturing sector, which lost about 30,000 jobs. Unemployment rose for the 9th consecutive quarter, reaching 7.8%. Ontario's finance minister says the province is investing $70 million for training supports for tariff-impacted industries. Canada's big banks are expected to report third quarter earnings next week, which could provide insight where the Canadian economy is headed. Bank stocks have risen above the broader market in recent months as the initial fear around tariffs somewhat eases. Analysts aren't expecting the same pop from trading compared to the last bank's earnings report, with some speculating bank stocks may actually be overvalued at the moment, given Canada's slower growth and rising unemployment. There are several reports across the country tonight from Canadians relying on disability benefits who have not received them. With more on the issue, here's Adrian Gabriel.
Canadians who depend on federal disability benefits have been left with an empty feeling at the ATM this week.
I checked and it's not there, and I went, okay, no breakfast.
In July, Ottawa began making payments through its new federal disability benefit that tops out at $200 a month for a total of $2,400 a year.
It lets them buy some essential over-the-counter painkillers, maybe, pay for their food, pay a backlog of bills and debt, pay their rent.
This past Thursday, Canadians living with a disability, like Victoria State, were supposed to receive the program's second payment. Many have been left empty-handed.
Excuse me, you started a program for people who are struggling.
CTV News called the Canada Disability Benefit Call Centre hotline. We were greeted with this voicemail.
Due to a system issue, some Canada Disability Benefit payments issued by direct deposit for the month of August 2025 will be delayed. We apologize for the inconvenience.
In March, Prime Minister Mark Carney eliminated multiple cabinet positions, including the now former Minister for Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disabilities. Advocates say issues like this are proof that Carney's move was a mistake.
This basically means that we are lumped into a huge portfolio that the current Minister of Jobs and Families is responsible for. So we are not a top priority.
We asked the federal government for an explanation as to why payments haven't been made. A spokesperson didn't directly answer our question, saying in part, they are pleased to confirm that the majority of CDB payments are completed. A limited number of client payments remain outstanding due to an isolated systems issue.
You don't start a program and then drop the ball. Thank you very much. You people are getting a paycheck. You got a paycheck because you can get food. I don't got a paycheck and I got no food.
There was some good news late this afternoon. Following our questions to the federal government, we began to hear from some who say they've now received their deposits. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Aurora, Ontario.
Talks between Canada Post and union leaders have been put on hold. Negotiations were scheduled for today, but post office officials say they need more time to review the latest offers from the union. Both parties returned to the bargaining table this week after a pause triggered by the Air Canada flight attendant strike. Canada Post and the union are now scheduled to resume talks on Monday. Canada's main stock index gained today after the federal government announced it would remove some retaliatory tariffs, lifting hopes for a trade deal. The TSX added 278 points. In New York, the Dow gained 846, the Nasdaq up 396. The Canadian dollar gained 1/5 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained almost $37 an ounce. Oil is up 14 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, the FBI descends on the home and office of former Trump ally turned critic. Welcome back. A family from the Oakville area are suing a hospital after their son waited more than 8 hours in the ER to see a doctor and later died. Allison Hurst has more on their fight for improving wait times.
Finley Vanderverken, seen here scoring a goal for his hockey team, was a smart, active kid, an older brother with a big heart.
He loved his ice hockey. He loved his team, being part of a team.
But in February 2024, at 16 years old, he died in hospital.
From arriving in the hospital to taking him off the machine, 27 hours is unbelievable.
First, I'm thinking it's treatable.
Vanderverken had a migraine and then began experiencing severe pain, so his mother drove him to the Oakville Trafalgar Memorial Hospital emergency room.
He was crying out in pain. He was just looking at me as if, what the hell's happening, Mom? And I just remember being terrified. That gut feeling that says something's really, really wrong.
She didn't even park the car, abandoning it and rushing him inside.
He just said, please help me.
His parents say he was triaged at 10 p.m., but it would be more than 8 hours before he saw a doctor despite his mom's repeated requests for help.
He was triaged as a level 2 on the Canadian Triage and Acuity Scale. The guidelines say that ideally a patient who is a level 2, which is the second highest, should be seen by a physician within 15 minutes.
According to the family statement of claim, hospital staff ordered him pain medications and tracked his vitals. The first physician saw Vanderwerken just after 6 a.m. and wrote his oxygen saturations had been decreasing throughout the morning.
You see these saturations dropping in real time, but the question remains, we're not sure what was done, if anything, between that, approximately 10 p.m. and 6:22 in the morning.
According to the family statement of claim, Vanderwerken was experiencing sepsis, pneumonia with hypoxia, and he was at high risk for acute deterioration. He was transferred to Sick Kids in Toronto and hooked up to an ECMO machine until his family was told he would not recover.
This is not a decision any parent should ever have to make. But yeah, there is no other choice. There was no other choice for us to...
You didn't want him pain.
No. So we had to let him go.
The family is suing the hospital and staff. None of the family's claims have been proven in court. In a statement, Halton Healthcare says in part, "We extend our deepest condolences to the Vanderwerken family on the tragic loss of Finley." They go on to write they are deeply committed to delivering high-quality, compassionate care to the communities they serve across all 3 of their hospitals. They are also promising to actively advance several key initiatives to improve patient care.
I do believe that Halton Healthcare is taking this seriously.
The Vanderwerkens are also pushing for a coroner's inquest. They have started social media pages called Finley's Voice to advocate for healthcare reform. And they've launched a petition to pass a law around children's wait times in ERs and mandate oversight, saying this is what he would have wanted.
He just had, from when he was born, this heart that had so much love to give.
And they hope their advocacy can keep that love alive. Alison Hurst, CTV News.
Officials in Newfoundland and Labrador have started lifting evacuation orders, but the Premier says there are challenges in getting all evacuees back home.
But we're still looking at the evacuation orders and lifting those again when it's only reasonably safe to do so. There's a very long checklist that we have to go through to make sure that not only that the fire is out, but that the communities are safe for any various number of reasons, including things like power to homes, damage to homes that you might not see at first glance, roads, bridges, things like that. So there is a lot of work to do before those evacuation orders can be lifted.
Other towns not under evacuation orders have had other issues, including water supply shortages, prompting several municipalities to put water restrictions in place. Meteorologists say Hurricane Erin won't make landfall in Canada, but Nova Scotia will feel its impact. They're predicting 5-meter-high waves and winds up to 70 kilometers an hour in Nova Scotia, warning residents to stay out of the ocean because of possible riptides. The worst of the waves is expected to subside tomorrow. Meanwhile, fire crews have said they're monitoring shifting winds, which could increase the spread and intensity of wildfires in that province.
A cold front will slowly cross the region Saturday night into Sunday with some showers and the risk of a thunderstorm. This will bring a cool air mass as we kick off the week. Thank you so much, Samantha Lee, for this photo taken at a cottage in Muskoka. Tonight will be a great night for stargazing.
Global hunger experts say Gaza City and the surrounding area are now officially under famine conditions.
Please read the IPC report, cover to cover. Read it in sorrow and in anger. Not as words and numbers, but as names and lives. Be in no doubt that this is irrefutable testimony. It is a famine.
Roughly 500,000 people are in the area identified in the report, which has been rejected by Israel's prime minister, who calls it an outright lie, claiming it ignores apparent humanitarian steps taken by Israel. Meanwhile, Israel's defense minister warned his troops will destroy Gaza's largest city unless Hamas yield to Israeli demands. Ground troops are already active, with a wide-scale offensive possible within days. According to Israeli officials, Gaza City is a Hamas stronghold. They're demanding all hostages be released, with Hamas agreeing to a complete disarmament. Hamas officials say they would free hostages, but they're rejecting any disarmament without the creation of a Palestinian state. Israel's prime minister says he has instructed officials to begin negotiating a hostage release and end the war on his country's terms. FBI officers searched the home of a former Trump advisor, John Bolton, today. Federal agents were seen outside Bolton's home in Maryland. A source says Bolton was not detained and has not been charged with any crimes. Bolton served in Donald Trump's first administration as national security advisor, but he later became critical of the president after an investigation into how classified information was handled. A provincial park in eastern Ontario is taking a different approach when it comes to attracting tourists. It's home to a historic mine dating back to the early 1900s. Peter Sperling takes us underground for a look.
Put on a hard hat and step back in time.
Welcome to the Silver Queen Mine.
This is the Silver Queen Mine at Murphy's Point Provincial Park, outside of Perth.
It's amazing. Our mine here is unique in the Ontario Park system. It's the only one of its kind across Ontario parks.
But don't let the word silver fool you.
You can see the silvery-like shine.
This was primarily a mica, a type of mineral mine operating more than 100 years ago.
So I have a lantern here, and it might look like glass or maybe plastic, but this is sheets of mica on these side panels.
Throughout the mine, all over the walls and the ground, there's a sparkle, and that's mica. And while you can touch it while you're here, of course, it's a provincial park, so you can't take it with you. And visitors can get up close and explore.
We didn't even know that this existed here.
This family visiting from Barrie, Ontario, camping at the park for the week, now learning how the mine operated from 1903 to 1920.
It's beautiful. It's also incredible to see how hard people worked.
I would say of all the parks that we've been to, this one is the most unique experience we've had.
The mine is only accessible on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays through a guided tour or an open house Sundays until Labor Day.
These tours are quite popular. We often fill up. This is a really special place down here.
On this day, 80 visitors.
So just glad that there was something like this here and we're able to appreciate and enjoy.
It's the first time. We've lived here for 6 years and I've never come to the mining tour before, and it's fantastic.
This has been a really cool experience. I've never been underground or in a mine before.
Visitors are asked to pre-register with the park for tours. Peter Sperling, CTV News.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
Breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Get ready to rock the runway. We want to hook you up with tickets to see Marshmello and Baby No Money.
September 13th at Rock the Runway. Tickets are on sale now, or listen to 97.5 Virgin Radio this week for your chance to win.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, some friendly competition in the middle of the off-season. Well before winter arrives, snowplow operators from across the province get together, testing their skills and know-how. With more, here's Karis Mapp.
It was off to the rodeo Thursday morning in Heidelberg, with snowplow drivers showing off their abilities.
This is a competition that showcases their skill, their driving ability, their spatial awareness behind the wheel.
This year, 24 drivers navigating the course in preparation for the winter.
Everybody you have here are from the municipalities in the region of Waterloo, and they'll be behind the wheel in winter events, maintaining all those roads through those storms.
Fastest isn't necessarily the best. The competition is judged by points rather than time.
You start with a perfect score when you get to each station, and then they take points off for mistakes.
Tight turns, precise backups, and even an inspection station where operators need to identify truck defects.
It can be stressful, but I just go and have fun. We all kind of do everything a little different, so it's nice to just see how everybody else does it.
It may be a warm summer day, but organizers say each station simulates situations the driver may face come wintertime.
Maneuvering around vehicles that happen to be parked on the road, being accurate in terms of where their wing is on the curb, you know, creating some neatness in their plow route.
I'm in what's called a single axle, and it's a much smaller truck, and it has a different turn radius as opposed to these with the tandem axles, and they're a little bit more difficult to turn.
The top 2 drivers qualify for provincials. This year, Chris Painter driving into first place once again and will be heading to Carlton Place in September.
We're not a part of the snow belt, so there are guys up there that are very busy compared to us. So their seat time compared to us is sometimes double, triple. So to be able to come up from Southern Ontario and try to, you know, represent the South of saying, hey, we get snow too.
The second place driver, Darby Lehman, making history as the first woman to ever compete at the provincial competition.
It's just overwhelming and insane. Like, obviously it's a competition to do this, but at the end of the day, it's all for fun. And the main goal is to just test yourself, and you end up going. Like, I didn't think I would ever end up going to provincials.
Kara Smapp, CTV News, Heidelberg.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. And for all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a great weekend.